Hello everyone, my name is Thomas, aka MrWartburg. This is the 51st episode of the MrWartburg Show. First in a little bit, we're talking my hype list for 2017 though. Specifically, part 1 is going to be about movies. Part 2, next week's episode, will be about video games and TV shows, which is a much smaller list than the 2021 I have with the movies. Now, the order of the films is going to be in order of release date, not in order of the one I'm most excited for, though the last is the one I'm most excited for, and that's just because it comes out in December, which I'm pretty sure you all know what that is. So first out of the gate is John Wick Chapter 2. I was a huge fan of the first one because I love me some action movies. I mean, I rank Die Hard, movies like Dredd, which is also a comic book, but is definitely an action movie, and John Wick is like, this is some of my favorite films of all time, and they're some of the best action movies of all time. It's one of my favorite genres, and I cannot wait for the sequel, because we get more John Wick. He's still got a dog in this one, which they released a clip of him like walking back into the Continental, and he tells the dog to stay, and it's a great little clip. And I'm just excited to see the John Wick world, the Continental, the management. He said in that clip, he said he wants to see the manager and like the world of assassins that they built. It's kind of a comic book world that starts with a movie, and they're actually, I believe, ordering comic book, if I remember reading a story about that right. And I'm rather excited to see that. That's definitely a comic book I might actually check out, which I don't buy a lot of comics anymore. But I love that world, and I really liked the first one, and I'm excited to see the second one. Plus, Neo and Morpheus are going to be back together again. What's not to love? Okay, and 1 week after that, at least I think that's when it comes out, is the Lego Batman movie. Now, I really liked the Lego movie. I think it was one of my favorite films. What was that, 2014, maybe? With Chris Pratt in the lead role, and Lego Batman was fantastic. And he was a bit character, like he was a side character, not the main lead, so I'm not sure how well it's going to translate to, a feature-length film, but they've been knocking it out of the park with all their properties for the, like, the live-action Lego stuff. It's not really live-action, but you know what I mean, in their frontline properties, I guess you could say, whether it's the video games or the movies, and so I'm pretty hopeful this is going to be good. And this is one of those ones where I don't know if I'm going to watch it in theaters, because watching them, especially there's one later in the list where it's like, it's going to be a theater full of kids, and I can get the same experience, get it like when it's on rental or on streaming, and don't have to deal with kids, because I can deal with, fellow nerds for comic book movies and action movies and Star Wars movies. But dealing with, like, kids whose parents don't give a fuck at movies, even though it's going to be a fun movie, I don't know if I want to go do that in a theater. Third movie on the list comes out on March 3rd, same day as the Nintendo Switch and the new Zelda. But fuck that noise, because I'm going to go see Logan like 3 times opening weekend. Those trailers have been amazing, especially the 2 Red Band trailers. The first one, we see the claw come through the guy's skull, and then you got Patrick Stewart as Xavier just, like, swearing about, like, being old and, like, having to be carrying around and shit. It looks fantastic. It looks like they've really nailed Logan and like his character as like old man Logan mixed with like The Last of Us from different trailers. We've gotten that kind of vibe, and it looks amazing. I cannot wait to see that movie. I think it might go down from how it looks. It looks like it might be the best comic book film. It looks like it might be right up there with The Dark Knight. So, and it's Jackman Swan song. I'm going to say that right. As Wolverine, so I'm hoping he actually gets a really solid film to go out on, because he's had a few clunkers. I really did like The Wolverine Unrated Edition, and I'm very excited to see what they do with a straight-up theatrical R-cut for Logan. Next up is Kong Skull Island. I'm not sure if the Legendary universe with Kong and Godzilla is gonna like take off, and they're actually gonna meet up and fight, and it does come down to how well this movie does, because the 2014 Godzilla did okay financially, so it's probably going to get its own sequel with the Kong matchup if Kong lives up to the hype. Look, the trailers have looked pretty good. It looks like they've really gotten a good sense of scale about how big Kong is in the world of Skull Island, and we've got Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, and John C. Reilly as I'm hoping his character is not too to the forefront, because he's definitely going to be the comedic relief, so I'm hoping they don't really make him grind through the movie and just kind of slow things down. I'm hoping he just is going to fit better, and maybe those lines, those jokes in the trailer, maybe those are all the jokes he says, which would be fine. I mean, we've seen that in several movies where all the funny stuff's in the trailer, which makes you turn off, but then it's not in the movie. So I'm hoping that's the case. But it looks like a decent enough movie, and I hope it does go, do well financially, because then we will get a Kong-Godzilla fight, and who the fuck doesn't want to see that? Are you kidding me? Did you see the shot of Kong from this trailer? I want to see him fight Godzilla. Fucking awesome. Better they team up and take on Mothra. And movie number 5 features 5 teenagers in the role, or at least actors playing teenagers, and that'd be Power Rangers. I'm not super psyched about this one. Like, I don't think it's going to actually be good, but just for nostalgia's sake, I'm probably going to go watch it on a matinee showing on opening weekend just because Power Rangers. And it actually doesn't look awful. It looks like first or third Transformers level of. It's not, you could go see worse shit, but it's probably at least going to look cool. And I think the first and the third Transformers movies hit that mark pretty well. And it looks like Power Rangers is going to hit that route. Though I've been a little underwhelmed by the trailers because none of them have used the theme song from the 90s Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And are you shitting me? A fan put together, I'm going to link to this, the theme song, but with the actual footage from the trailer. It was fucking awesome. Like, why didn't they do that? Like, that should have been the reveal. Like, the trailer is just the 55-second, theme song, and it does, the starring as Red Ranger and all that other stuff. It would have been awesome. Why didn't they do that? But either way, I'm gonna go see the movie, at least on a matinee showing, because cheap. Next up is the 8th movie in the Fast and Furious franchise, which is fucking insane to say that franchise has 8 films. It got to 8 films, like part of the main saga films, almost as fast as Star Wars, and has been around less than half as long. Think about that. Kind of messed up. But I've been a big fan of the first one, and 4 through 7. I got 2 and 3, had decent moments. 3 had more decent moments than 2, and mostly because 2 didn't have a good lead. Sorry. But we get more of, Dom, and it's all about family and awesome cars. Now they got a submarine, and next they're probably going to be in fucking space in the 9th one, but who gives a shit? I want to watch it, because it looks like fucking perfect popcorn cheese movie. As soon as you walk in and sit down, brain is off, and you're just going to sit down for a hell of a 2-hour ride. And I have no doubt this one's going to deliver that. Okay, the next movie on my list is a little weird for me to have it on here, but it's also kind of a weirder movie, and it's called The Circle. It's with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson, and I think John Boyega's in it too. It's kind of a techno-thriller type movie. I've only seen the one trailer, but it actually kind of grabbed me. It's about Emma Watson's character. I think she plays like an intern at this company, and it's a 24-hour surveillance social media type product that this company she's working for is working on, and it's literally called The Circle. And it looks kind of like there's some mystery elements to it, and the actors and actresses involved in it, I'm interested in their work. And the premise, if done right, can be good. It's done pretty badly a lot of times, but I'm hoping that they'll knock it out of the park, and this might be one of those ones I go see on a $5 movie night. So, who knows? And of course, the next one's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Comes out in May. It's basically right around my birthday, and I love that every, first weekend in May, I get an awesome birthday gift from Marvel that's always a really fucking good movie. They have consistently they've never made a bad movie yet, which is nuts. There, how many movies deep into this franchise, into this cinematic universe, and they've all been middling to borderline great. That level of consistency is fucking amazing. And I have no doubt James Gunn is going to knock it out of the park again with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The trailers have all been great. I'm excited to see, I think it's, who's playing his dad? Is it Kurt Russell playing his dad, I think? Yeah, that sounds right. And I'm excited to see where they go with that and, the new music, and it's just going to be awesome. And of course, baby fucking Groot. Need I say more? Okay, I don't know if these next two actually come before or after Guardians Volume 2, but I love Guardians so much that I didn't really look at the release dates for these two, because I'm gonna go see them on the cheap movie nights, because I don't want to see them opening night. They don't scream opening night fare like Marvel movies and Star Wars and John Wick and those kind of movies. First is Baywatch, because it's got The Rock, and it's got comedic Zac Efron, who's got really good comedic chops, and Alexandria Daddario, I don't know how you say her last name, and it looks like a comedic 21 Jump Street style humor take on the Baywatch, TV series, and I loved 21 Jump Street. I loved the tone of that movie, and the trailers feel like they're kind of going that route, and I'm kind of excited to see what the Rock can pull off with that universe, because he's the fucking Rock. You're not going to go watch that movie? You're lying if you're saying no. Just to let you know. And then that weekend, the 5th Pirates is coming out. It's the same. Like I said, the same opening weekend as Baywatch. So I don't know which one I'm going to go see at a matinee that weekend. One will wait until the next weekend, but that's still up in the air. We'll see how I'm feeling in May, which is 5 months from now. 4.5 months from now. Fuck. 2017's already going by fast. God damn it. But Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tales, No Tales. Got it right this time. That was take 5 on that. It looks kind of interesting. It feels kind of in the same vein as the first Pirates, which I actually really liked. The trailer, the CGI doesn't look the greatest, but the trailer did come out super early, so they may, or potentially are still working on that CGI. Sorry, I'm just not getting through these words well. This is going to be a long video, and I don't want to do a shitload of takes. But, you know what I'm saying, they're probably going to work on the CGI. And if it doesn't, that's probably going to be what holds that movie back for me, because the transformative, the curse stuff in the first one still holds up pretty well. And, however many years later, what are we going on, a decade later? It doesn't look as good, which is kind of sad. So I'm hoping that it is picked up, in the new one. Okay, and back to comic book movies. This time, DC. In June, Wonder Woman comes out, and Wonder Woman actually doesn't look like shit. However, caveat, said the same thing about Suicide Squad. And a couple of the trailers for Batman vs. Superman didn't look awful. So, their trailer editing company doing all this for DC, pretty fucking good, clearly. They can cut good trailers. There have been some rumors. I've heard 2 stories about, some internally say it's awesome, some say it's a discombobulated mess like Batman vs. Superman. Now, I'm hoping, definitely for the former, expecting more of the latter, because it's DC, and now they are totally rewriting from page 1 the Flash movie, which doesn't even have a director anymore. And it wouldn't shock me if Ezra Miller gets recast. It really wouldn't at this point, that they just pull the plug on that whole thing and just say, hey Grant, you want to do it? Maybe? It wouldn't shock me even after Justice League, which is already coming out and he's going to be the Flash. Nothing would shock me anymore with DC, like they're splitting Shazam into 2 movies. Which kind of makes sense because you have The Rock as Black Adam, who should also be playing Billy Batson. Just saying, he should be playing Billy Batson. But I get him wanting to, maybe play a different type of character, play the villain / anti-hero, because he played up the anti-hero side of things in his interview when he talked about making the second movie. So, I can get him as an actor wanting to play the villain role. I was more excited to see him play the, try to be like a kid playing Superman role, but I think he would have knocked it out of the friggin' park. But like I said, nothing's really going to shock me with DC. The only thing that's going to shock me is if they make a good movie. And I'm hoping Wonder Woman can shock me, but I'm not expecting it to. Okay, this is that other kids kind of movie that I had on the I might not watch it in theaters because of the kids part of going to the movie theaters, and that's Cars 3. That first trailer, and then now I think they had dropped a second trailer. Man, that just kind of hits you right in the feels. It's like, shit. They're going to quasi almost kill. They're basically going to do like Rocky 3, but in cars. Which I didn't think I'd want to see. But they are. So, Cars 2 felt like a Disney spin-off bad movie. Whereas the first one, clearly, that was Pixar on its game. Maybe on its B game. But Pixar's B game is still better than anybody's, really. Other than their own A game. And Cars 3 looks pretty fucking good so far. So I'm excited for it. And hopefully it'll be a really good movie that can tide me over until, I think, next year. Maybe, I don't know if they've pushed Incredibles to 2019, but oh my god, I cannot wait for that movie. Okay, now we're really getting to the meat of the summer blockbusters and the movies that I'm super fucking excited to see. Next up after Cars 3 is Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the first Spider-Man movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and as I said earlier, they have yet to make a bad film. And you could make the case that a lot of the Spider-Man movies so far have been bad to average. None have really, except for maybe Spider-Man 2, have stood out and said, hey, this is a good film. Definitively, you can't really say it's bad, or even less than, just okay. The guy playing Spider-Man, I'm blanking on his name, and it kind of sucks because he was awesome in Civil War, and he's, playing it feels like they're doing what was that show, Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's working with Iron Man, and then the show he's working with S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's gonna, get, an Iron Spider suit, maybe, and, it looks like they're actually giving a shit about the Spider-Man lore, instead of, Sony, whatever bullshit they did the last few times, which is weird that we can say they've done it a few times and still failed. So I have hopes that Marvel can actually put together a good product that will hopefully make them more money and make more Spider-Man movies down the road, because who doesn't want to see awesome Spider-Man movies? It's one of the best superhero characters there is, and you want to see it done right. So you might as well give it to Marvel. Now, a couple summers ago, one of my favorite kind of sci-fi dystopian movies was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and it remains one of my favorite movies of the last 5 to 10 years. And its sequel, War for the Planet of the Apes, is coming out this summer. It's got an intense-looking Woody Harrelson. You've got the, Caesar leading the apes against man, now an actual full-on war. And the first trailer, dropped, and it looked amazing. And the last one had monkeys on horseback dual-wielding, machine guns. So, if they can top that, this movie's gonna be fucking awesome. And then we have Christopher Nolan taking on one of the coolest World War II stories in the Battle of Dunkirk and the Miracle of Dunkirk. It's literally just called Dunkirk. And so he's one of the best directors out there, telling one of the best stories in like the war to end all wars, basically, World War II. What can go wrong? Probably not anything, because it looks awesome. Looks like they've nailed, except for the extra that like ruined the shot apparently from the trailer. I remember those articles about like this one extra was just laughing at the camera when he did that huge swoop down into the troop transports as the bombers were coming in and stuff. So I'm super excited for this movie because I love me some World War II, like heavy Saving Private Ryan-esque movies, and to put that in the hands of a Christopher Nolan type director, man, we could get something pretty fucking special out of that. And as I said earlier, if The Rock's in a movie, I'm going to watch it, you're going to watch it, we all know we're all going to watch it. And that includes Jumanji. Now, I'm not hugely a fan of remakes, but as soon as I found out that it was The Rock and playing the lead, I was totally in, because it's The Rock playing a movie about a kid's board game. What's not to love? It sounds like it's going to be a fun ride, so of course I'm going to go see it. And you're going to go see it. Now, instead of a Blade Runner remake, we're getting a Blade Runner sequel, Blade Runner 2049, with Ryan Gosling. Harrison Ford's back. Was Ridley Scott back? I'm blanking on some of the facts around this movie. But the trailers intrigued me. I actually never watched the first Blade Runner, so I have to watch Blade Runner. I'm going to probably watch that one cut that's the Ridley Scott, like, director's cut or whatever. I'm going to watch that. It's always seemed like it was right up my alley. That kind of sci-fi is very much in what I'm into. It was just one I never watched as a kid and never got when I was, growing up or when I'm, now I'm an adult. But now I'm going to probably watch it or at least rent it on Amazon or something and actually give it a shot before I go see Blade Runner 2049 because it looks pretty good. Now, much like John Wick from a couple years ago, the kind of breakout action hit, Kingsman: The Secret Service was another one of those movies that came out of nowhere as an R-rated action comedy mashup type movie that told a kind of a James Bond-esque story that's, I think it is based on a comic book, isn't it? It's based on a Mark Millar book, and he directed it, of course, much like Kick-Ass. And it was one of those movies that, much like Kick-Ass, really kind of made me go, fucking awesome. This is fantastic. Now, Kick-Ass, the second one, not so great. So I'm not sure if Kingsman: The Golden Circle is going to be up on the level of the first one, but it's got Channing Tatum as, like, the American super spy. So, they already got a guy who got some good comedic chops as an American actor going alongside the already established cast, like with Marlon and Eggsy and everybody in The Kingsman. So I'm hoping the movie comes together and is going to be at least as fun a time as the first one, if not maybe as good of a film. Okay, last three, and I'm kind of starting to sweat because my door is closed and the window's closed and it's hot in here. So I'm going to roll through these really, really fast, except the last one. First is Thor Ragnarok. It's going to open apparently with a galactic gladiator battle between Thor and Hulk and some kind of like Planet Hulk type storyline, and maybe we're going to see Beta Ray Bill. I don't know, but it's going to be awesome because who doesn't want to see a buddy comedy movie apparently as they're billing it with Thor and Hulk? That sounds awesome, and apparently they're going to stop some Asgardian god who's like the sister of Odin or something, and stopping the end of the world for the Asgardians. So it means we're hopefully going to get more of the Warriors 3, and they're going to play a fun role. So. And maybe Sif will drop the bomb and, oh shit, Agent Coulson's alive, just to let you know. And then we have Justice League, and there's only 5 words that need to be said about this. Please don't let this suck. And then, of course, the movie that actually got its name a couple days before I recorded this video, and that's Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And it was in red font, so it looks like it's going to be a kind of a darker movie, and it's Star Wars, so of course we're all going to go see it, but it's actually continuing the Skywalker saga, and, hopefully we get some, like, awesome Poe and Finn action, and they're just, like, gallivanting across the universe, like, being fucking awesome bros, and Rey's gonna be a Jedi, and they're training with Luke, and it should be awesome, because it's Disney, and they have Cars 3, they have Star Wars, and 3 Marvel movies coming out, so they're gonna make, like, all the fucking money, and they're all gonna be really good films. And we know this. And I cannot wait for December, because this movie is gonna be so fucking awesome. Whew. And that's it for the list. Sorry, I'm a little tired. That's a lot of talking, and I haven't made a video this long in a long time. So that's my list for 2017. Is there anything I'm missing, like a movie that's fallen under my radar? Maybe it's an indie film, maybe it's a movie like John Wick or Kingsman that I just didn't see until like a week before it comes out. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you agree with like having the movies on the list, or anything I should take off because they look like shit to you. Let me know in the comments below. Like the video, share, subscribe. Do all that whole 9 yards stuff, and then I'll see you next week for the video games and television topic. Peace.